Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing water containers. Just to say thank you for those that wish me well, and a few of you commented about how you're with the flu as well, so I wish you a speedy recovery. As you can see, pretty much back, and no excuses, I guess, for today's solve, which is all about water containers. Now, I picked this puzzle despite the fact that I think it's rated easier than it actually is. And rather than sort of try and talk you through it, let me put up the grid and walk you through the rules and why I think it is probably closer to 2-star than it is to 1-star. Just keep in mind water containers, and as soon as I bring it up, you'll fully understand why that is the case. It is a slightly new variant, but one that should be familiar for regular viewers of the channel. Let's get on with it. So, water containers by Bert. Now, you may already be sort of looking at all of these cages without any kind of sums and wondering how are we going to solve this. That's because it's down to today's rule sets. So first rule we all know, normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. We know that one. Second one that's going to be familiar for most of you is in our thermometer, digits increase starting from the bulb end. So imagine that this is essentially like a physical thermometer. It would be a very weird physical thermometer if it's sort of bent like that. But just like with a physical thermometer, the bulb end is the lowest temperature. Let's say this is a 3. And as you go up the thermometer, you essentially increase in digits. Unlike a physical thermometer, you don't have to increase in the exact same step. So you can see, like I clearly see, I skipped the 7 here. That's totally fine as well. What you cannot do is essentially go down from 8 all the way back down to a 7. That's no longer increasing from the bulb end. That is decreasing here. What else do we have? Right, here are the water containers rules. If you're familiar with the oil and water series, this is going to play somewhat similar, although it is based on polarity, not parity this time. So cages are containers filled with water, air, or both. Water cells and air cells cannot exist in the same row within a container. I think that makes sense. Within a container, these cells, for example, I'm going to use maybe gray. If your air looks like this, you should move and water in the same level. That doesn't make sense. It's either entirely made of air or entirely made of water. And if it is mixed, let's see one more line that will explain it. And air cannot be below water within a container. I think that's also fairly obvious. If it is mixed, air would be at the top, water would be at the bottom, and you can't have air and water mixed in the same level. Now, the digits 1 to 4 represent air, and the digits 5 to 9 represent water. So notice that the 5 is not excluded here. It is part of water, so you can have 5 water digits and 4 air digits. And we're going to have to try and figure this out. So, if you want to play along, if you missed the oil and water series and the next one hasn't, had its debut, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. So, I may as well say some of these things out loud. So essentially, I'm looking for cages that are 5 cells, because if they are 5 cells, I know they cannot be fully air. So that is definitely at least one water. This U shape here means at least these 3, because all of them at the same level need to be the same material, so they're all water. And again, this is a 5-cell cage. These are at least water. And I think for the moment, that seems to be no, this is another 5-cell cage. This one is also water. But what I was about to say before I spotted that one is I think that is all the 5-cell cages. All the rest could actually be fully water, except of course for thermometers. Now, the nature of, I guess, this thermometer, the fact that this is already a water digit, so it's 5 or higher, and all of these can only be increasing. That means all of this is water, and therefore all of that entire volume is water. Continue with the thermometer idea. This means this is 5, this has to be at least 5, this has to be at least 6. So all of these have to be water. I have to be careful now. I've got 4 waters in box 7, and there's a maximum of 5. So at least all of these are air. I couldn't have, 3 more water. I could have 1 more. I actually have 1, 2, 3. Yep, I've got 5 in here, so all of that is air as well. Let's have a look. Maybe time to kind of pencil mark some of these thermometers to see what is going on. So this is air, so that could be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. This has to be from 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, so I could make all of these air. I mean, unlikely, but I mean, it's possible. And the same is true in here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see again, we've got 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. You can see you've got a 6, 7 pair in here. That is a 5. 5 is the lowest water digit. So these are in fact air, which makes all of this air. Can't have water above air. It's the more dense. This is air, therefore this has to be air as well, since it's a smaller digit. So I'm just thinking again, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know what this digit is. Anyhow, 2 airs in this box means it's impossible for entire volume here to be air. So these 2 are at least water. This being the highest digit, so even if these 2 are air, this being higher than these 2, this has to be water. Air here at the bottom, I mean, Sleuth, you're making it hard for yourself. Right, that's all 4 air, all 4 air in box 4, so all of these are water. We got 3 waters and 2 airs, so essentially these 2 are 1 of each. We don't know which yet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these now are water. Water is heavier, so more dense. So these are water. That's 5 waters in column 4. That's air. Can't mix in the same level. That's air again. Again, can't mix in the same level. That's all water. We've essentially got 2 of each now. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can't have 5 and 6 in here. That's got to be air. Am I counting correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's air as well. That's 4 of them. That's 4 in the column as well. So that's water. I think that's my 5th in this box. Yes, it is. That's water as well. Right, that's a lot that's been done fairly quickly. Problem is I'm sort of struggling to link the rest of it. Here, I think I can see. So 1, 2, 3 air means I can't have 4 and 5 air here at the top. So this is water, which makes this water. That's now 4 waters. I can't see how to differentiate between these 2 at the moment. It could be either. We've got 3 airs. So at a minimum, this has to be water because I can't have 2 airs in here. That would have made 5 in the column. That makes all of this water as well. That's 3 waters now. And it's almost certainly 2 of these are either air or water, and then these 2 are air or water. We just don't. Oh, we do. Yeah. So which one of these 4 is air? We need 2 of them. Well, if I make it this one, that's a problem because the second one will either be at the bottom of a container with water above it, or I'd have to mix it with water. So this is definitely water, which makes this definitely water. Same question applies, but now, I mean, it's fairly obvious. These two are air. This is water. That's 4 air in the row. That's got to be water as well. That's 5 water in the row. That's got to be air. In fact, that's just 5 in the box. That's all air. That's got to be air as well above it. And I need 1 air and 1 water. What do I have in the column? 3, 4. That's water. That's air. That makes this air. That's 4 in the row. Excuse me. And therefore this is all water, and that would make 5 in this box. That's all air. Right, we've done 3, so we have 1 of each, so the only way to obey the rules is to split it as such. We've got 4 water, so that means at a minimum this is air, because water can only fill 1 more cell. In fact, it does fill that cell because we've only got 3 in here. We need 2 more. So that's the water now maxed out on the column. That is air, same level, that's air. And I think that's 4 air. Yep, that's 5 to finish. That's everything now, polarity-wise at least, determined. Right. I guess we're going to have to use the thermos now to try and actually just complete some of these things. What am I looking for now? So 5, 6, 7, that means this is 8, 9. That makes these 5, 6, 7. Can I do anything with these? So let's have a thing. This cell is up here. This cage needs a 4. So the 4 is no, 4, not 5, is one of these 2 cells. No 4s in here, so this is 1, 2, 3 again. No 4s in here either. Could this be a 4? Yeah, and these could be 4. So this is actually, that's 4. That's 4 cells on a thermometer. What am I struggling with there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 1, not 2. This is 2, 3, 3, 4. This is no longer a 1 now. This is 2 or 3, and this is 2, 3, 4. That 2 gives me the 3, gives me the 4. This is a 1 to complete the cage. Remember, I must have mentioned this somewhere. I don't think I mentioned it in the beginning. Digits cannot repeat within a cage. Sorry about that. This is a 2-4 pair, which makes this a 1-3 pair, which makes this a 2-4. What else do we know? That makes this a 1-3, I guess, given we already got 2-4, 2-4 in the column, that's 1-3. This is not 3, therefore, I mean, this can still be 3. This is 3-4, the thermometer forces in order. These are 1-2, that makes this a 3. There is a 4 for sure in here with 1, 2, 4. That does mean that is not a 4, that is a 2, that is a 4, that is a 2. That 2 looks across, that's a 3. That's a 2-4 pair. We probably had that earlier. That is not a 2. This is 1-4 as well. So I think one thing that's common about these types of puzzles is you end up, once you sort of solve where the thermometers cross, you know, there's very little interaction between them. So you can just focus on one color, complete it, and then shift onto the other color. So this can't be a 2. This is a 1-4 pair. That's the only 2 for the cage. That's the 1. That 2 is not down here. This is 1, 3, 2, 4. That makes us 2, 4, but that 2 gives me 4. This is another 1, 3. There's a 2 in here somewhere. So 1, 2, 3. This would be 1, 3. Is any of this force? This is not a 3. Has to be because, oh yeah, these things. I haven't really done much with them. What are these 2? Well, because of the columns, they are 1, 3, 2, 4. I've got a 1, 3 pair that are, this is 2 or 4. In fact, it's 2, which gives me 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is probably going to go all the way now for at least, yeah. Yeah, that's 1, that's a 3, 1, 3. Right, that's the low digits done. High digits and 5 next. Let's have a look at what this is saying. This is 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. Doesn't seem to be saying much. What about this thermometer? This is 5, 6, 7. Not saying much either. Sleuth. 5 in the cage means that's got to be 6. That forces the rest of this entire line. So this is 5, 6, 7. That 7 gives me a 6. And this is 7, 8, 9. In fact, this is not a 6. This is the only place for a 5 in row 9. This is not a 5. Not a 5. 6, 7 looking at a 5. 6, 7, that's got to be 5. We have in essence another 6, 7 and an 8 in here. So this is 7, 8, 9. I don't know how to restrict it further at the moment. This is not a 6. One of these is a 9, but in fact, where does 9 go in row 5? This is the only place for it. So this is another 6, 7, 8, which means this is the only place for a 5. Which gives me a 7 in here, which forces the rest of this. This is 7, 8, 9. This is now a 6. This is a 7, 8 pair, which gives me another 6 in here, 7. This will be a 7, 8 pair just to complete this container, which is going to be made up of unique numbers. And these are 5, 6, 7. I can see the 7, 8 is not very helpful, actually. Sorry, 5. Well, the 9 is not in these two cells. That's the 9. And that's not the 6. That's the 6. That's the 5. This is not the 7. That's the 8. That's the 9. That's the 7. This is therefore the 9. This is the 5. I don't know what this is. These are 6, 7, 8. Okay. So yeah, maybe it is a 1-star difficulty rate. It's just I'm used to Oil and Water, the series, just being a little bit harder than this, but this was fairly approachable. 6 is definitely up here, joined with an 8, 9. And I guess 5 and 7 are up here. So it's just Sudoku now. I mean, we've used all the thermometers. Sudoku and cages, let's bear that in mind. 6, 7, 8 means these are 5 9s. That's not the 9. That's a 5. That's a 9. That gives me an 8. That's not an 8. Nine is in one of two cells. Yeah, that 8, 9 pair is still not resolved. So we have 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, but this is 6, 7, 6, 7. This cage is 5 and it needs a 5. So that has to be the only place for a 5, which gives me 7, 6. Not 6s. This is a 7, 8 pair. This is the 5 can only be in here now. This is another 8, 9 is in fact an 8 because of this 9, which gives me a 7, which gives me a 6, which gives me a 9, which resolves the 8, 9 at the start. This is another 6, 7, which makes this the 8. It's a thermometer, so it wasn't entirely down to Sudoku and cages. 7, 6, and if I've not made any mistakes, 8 for the finish. Lovely puzzle, Bert. Lovely variant. Bit different from Oil and Water in the sense that it's polarity rather than parity, but I guess it makes thermometers a little bit more useful in this context. I was going to make a comment about the color of the air. You know, when we were in China, I mean, some days you would go out and the air would look that color and you can barely see more than 5 meters ahead of you. Yeah, air pollution is a real problem in some parts of the world. Anyhow, hope that you enjoyed the puzzle and the video. It's a 1-star difficulty rated. See you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.